Caution, this game contains scenes of violence and gore, as well as depictions of criminal acts. These acts are strictly punished by law. Please do not attempt to imitate them. This game also contains themes of sexual violence and self-harm. This game is a work of fiction. Any relationship to real persons, groups, places, or crimes is coincidental.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Last time I was here, I was complaining, but in the last week since I played this, I realized I can't be mad I made the sandwich because green is almost always a fantasy of love and red is almost always a fantasy of extreme violence. So I can be disappointed and angry, but I made the sandwich. She put her fingers to my lips. Shut up, she seemed to be saying. We were right in the middle of the store. Rimi grinned as if she read my mind. Not a lot of people come to the Indies corner, right? If we're down here, nobody can see us. Why did that matter? Hey, Taku. Rimi put her face even closer to mine. I could feel her breath tickling my cheek. It was warm. I felt like I was in a trance, like I couldn't turn my gaze away from Rimi's dewy eyes. Did I say Rimi? From Rimi's dewy eyes. It felt like they were drawing me in. Rimi was staring right at me. Then she moved her hand up, started to unbutton my blazer buttons one after another. What are you doing? Rimi didn't answer as she put a hand on my necktie. She yanked it hard to pull it off me, and then began to undo the buttons on my shirt. Somebody will find us! Yeah. It'd be really bad if somebody caught us, right? But despite what she said, her slender hands were sliding inside my shirt to touch my chest. I could feel her cold touch running along my skin. Her smile was sweet. Usually Rimi was bright and cheerful, and not very sexual at all. Seeing her this way made my heart race. You barely know her. I mean, true, your heart beating so fast. True, she's not usually sexual. Like, you see her at school and at a murder scene. Be real Ronnie style. Rimi. Oh. So hot? Oh crap, I said what I was thinking out loud. I was just that rattled. What exactly does that mean, I wonder? Tell me, Taku. It means you're really hot? Her fingers ran out my skin and toward my neck. It felt ticklish, but more than that, it felt good. Do you feel like having your way with me? Let my instincts take over and nodded vigorously. Okay. Want to do it here then? Would I rather fuck in my garbage-covered, porn-filled room or in the indies corner of a music store? Life's toughest questions. What? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Do it? Did that mean... Do what? Hey! Suddenly I came back to my senses. Rimi was waving her hand in front of my face, looking confused. I wasn't on the floor. Rimi wasn't riding my leg. We were just standing in face each other. What's wrong? You spaced out for a second there. Nothing. Calm down. I took a step back from Rimi and turned away from her to catch my breath. Crap, I had a naughty delusion. What an awful person I was. I felt a strong sense of self-loathing. No, this was her fault for talking about giving me something in return. Anybody would start getting ideas if they heard something like that. But wait a second, what did she actually offer in return? From the look of it, you didn't hear what I said, did you? Yeah. Okay, I'll say it again. I'll lend you one of my favorite CDs instead. Would that be good enough? What? Come on, you'll say yes, right? Please, I'm begging. Well, this is how it would actually happen in reality, right? Wait a minute. I wasn't into real girls. Why was I having these fantasies about Rimi? You you have them about Yua and Senna. Why is Rimi any different? I mean, yeah, she's the demon girl, but I mean, besides that, I don't think her being a real girl is the issue here. I nodded and she gave a little cheer of joy. It was so funny that I couldn't help but laugh, despite the danger I was in. Managed to get back to my dirty ass shipping container safely. Of course, it was thanks to Rimi. I was grateful to her. I wish she hadn't refused me when I asked for a little time to clean my room before she came
だ
in,
っ
though.
て前
I
に
know
来た時
exactly
に
how
汚い
dirty
っ
it
て
is
い
from
う
the
のは
last
よ
time I was
ーくわ
here.
かったし
There's no point in trying to clean it
今
up
さら片
now.
付けかっこつけなくてもいい
You
っ
don't
て
need to try and hide anything from me.
私とタク
You
の
and I are
仲
too
でしょ
close for that, right? No? Even if you two are best friends, I still don't want you to. And look, I'm not talking to Nishijo, but I still don't want my friends to see my room in absolute fucking hysterics and just nasty, dirty bullshit with garbage everywhere and fucking porn magazines. Were we too close for that? My memories of Rimi were completely gone, so I didn't really know. Sometimes I was surprised at how overly friendly Rimi seemed. It didn't really bother me, but it was clear that there was a difference in how we felt about personal space. Was she really serious if she said she didn't care if I cleaned up my room? There were discarded food containers from convenience stores on the floor, and stacks of H-game boxes with XXX rated covers on the bed. Either Rimi was really brave, or she didn't see me as any kind of potential threat at all. She doesn't see you as a threat, but that hasn't changed the fact that your room is dirty as hell and you need to clean it. Rimi didn't seem to have noticed my comfort at all, though. She sat down on the sofa and was starting to look at the lyrics booklet from the Phantasm CD. I sat down on my computer chair. At last, I could relax. Fear had worn me down today, but I didn't feel as tired as I thought I would. Probably because Rimi was here with me.
さて
Now,
どう
what
しよう
should we
か
do? She shut the lyrics booklet and gave a big stretch as she smiled at me. What should we do? Don't ask me. Rimi hadn't come here to hang out. She had come to borrow a seat, hadn't come to bother a CD either. I was glad she was staying here, but what exactly were we supposed to do? Did we have to do anything? If this wasn't... I can't even be mad. I was gonna make a joke saying you could fuck on the nasty-ass couch. No, I shouldn't be thinking about stuff like that right now. Being alone with in my room with a real girl was already a tense enough situation. If I started having delusions, I might end up saying something I regretted. Silence. Rimi was sitting there, staring at the manga on the floor and the H games on the bed. This was awkward. I felt like I should say something, but the only things I knew how to talk about were anime and video games. I couldn't imagine Rimi knew much about either of them. It was Rimi who offered to stay with me. Maybe she'd say something. If she was hoping for me to take the lead in the conversation, she was asking the wrong person. I really hated dealing with Rue. I actually really like this. Two of them aren't even really saying anything, just making like sighs and grunts. I really like that. It really is like actually awkward and not just like I really hated dealing with 3D girls. I appreciated her being with me, but this silent pressure was unbearable. Part of the problem was how dark this room was. It made the mood feel kind of erotic. I turned my back to my PC, unable to bear the awkwardness anymore. There was something I had to look up. It was the idea I'd had back at the school, the one that might give me a hint towards finding the D-Sword. Is it possible to turn the thoughts in your head into a video? What Sina had told me before about VR technology and how humans run on electricity felt like it could be a good starting
何
point.
してるの
What are you doing? Rimi stood up and walked over to me. Should I explain? But how to explain? It felt like it would be a big pain in the ass.
ねえね
Hey,
何して
tell me
る
what
か
you're
教え
doing.
てよ。
Since I didn't answer, Rimi started poking me in the back with her finger. I couldn't just ignore her, right?
君は
Do you believe that
妄想が
delusions
現実に
can
なる
become
って
real?
信じられる。
I kept typing keywords into the browser instead of looking back at her. If anything, I was looking at Sedatan as I
妄想
spoke.
が現実に
Delusions becoming real?
無理でしょ。
No way!
もしそれができたら
That was possible.
人と
Humans could
国
do
番にな
anything
って
they
るよ。
wanted. Anything they wanted, huh? That might be true. In your delusions, you could do anything, no matter how unreal. Those delusions could become real. That would mean the unreal could become real too.
それがどうし
And
て
then the unreal could run on an engine 5.
それに近いシステムが
There's a
アメリカで
patent for a
その
system that's kind of like that in America.
へえ
Aw,
冗
you're
談でし
kidding.
ょ。
I wasn't looking at her, but I could sense her giving me a sigh of disbelief. I decided to show her the image of the patent that Shio had found. Hmm? What's this?
特許の
A
証
picture
拠写真
of the patent.
本当
Huh?
に
Really? She leaned forward and stared at the monitor. Her head was now right next to mine.
わあ私英語
My
手に入れ
English is so
て
bad.
すごいねタク
Wow,
英
Taku.
語読め
I
る
didn't realize you could read English. She was so close. I could even see the sparkle in her eyes as the monitor's light reflected off them. My heart skipped a
ね
beat
えね
again.
えどうい
Hey,
うことか
tell me
教
what
え
it
てよ
says. She seemed to have taken an interest. I tried my best not to think about how close she was, moving my head so that I could see both Sedatan and the monitor at all
生ま
times.
れながらに盲目の
Let's say somebody was blind
ビ
from
デオカ
birth.
メラみたいな
Um,
映像機器を
send message to a
通す
video
ことで
camera so that
そこ
they
に
could see.
映る景色が見えるよう
Got that?
になるんだ。これ
ビデオカメラが
You mean the video camera was act as their eyes?
そう
Yeah,
VR 技術
called
っていう
VR technology.
へえ
Huh? If
も
that's
し本
true,
当だ
it's
ったら
really
すごい
amazing.
な
It is true. Senna said that they'd succeeded in testing it.
うんでも
But
機械を使って目が
what's
見える
using
よ
a
うにな
machine
る
to
と
see have to do
妄
with
想が現
illusions
実
being
になる
real?
ってどうつながるの私
I'm not that smart, so I can't figure it out. As I explained my theory to Rimi, I kept typing keywords into the search engine, but nothing was coming up. I kept going
映
anyway.
像機器に映る景
Both
色
the
も脳内
images
で思い
coming
浮か
from
べ
the
たもの
camera
も
and the
その
delusions in your
電気信号
mind
だから
were just electric signals.
うん
Hmm?
逆に考え
Think of
る
it the other way
脳
around.
内に電気信号を
Don't
送
think
るんじゃ
about
なくて
sending signals to
脳
the
内から
brain.
電気信
Think
号を
about
送るって
sending
考え
signals
るんだ
from the brain.
ほほう
I see. Her responses were dull, almost blank. Maybe she didn't understand at all. I was tired of explaining things to her, so I just stopped talking and I focused on my research. I didn't really need her to understand anyway. It was just an idea I'd
う
come
ん
up
うん
with. Rimi was still nodding and murmuring even though I'd stopped talking. I decided to just ignore her. But no matter how much I searched, I couldn't find anything to back up my theory. I decided to change my approach and look at the patents instead of just web pages. I went to the English site that Shiho had told me about that had a list of patents. I would look and see if there was anything that could give me any hints.
あ
After following a bunch of links, I finally found something similar to what Shiho had shown me before. It was a different patent document than the one for the VR device. I decided to read it
神経
immediately.
信号パルス
A
を遠
method
隔地か
and
らモニター
device
し
for
それを映
remote
像及び音声として
monitoring
再
of
現する
nerve
装置と
impulses and a replication, audio and video form.
おお
Oh, just what I thought of. I leaned forward out of my chair.
これすごい
This is incredible.
すごいの
Incredible? What's
何が
incredible?
何が
簡単に言うと
It's basically a
これ他人
device
の思考を
for
盗撮
reading
する
people's
技術
thoughts.
おお
Reading
盗
thoughts?
撮
In other words, you can use a special device to take a look at the images and sounds inside a person's head. And it even said you can monitor these nerve impulses from satellites. With this, you could read the mind of anybody on
本
Earth.
当にそんなこと
Is
で
that
きる
really
の
possible? It's not from a sci-fi novel or something.
特許ってそのシステム自体が完全に仕上がってない
Patents require you to have the finished
ぜ
system
絶対に取得できな
before
い
you can get them. That's what I read when I looked up patents
だ
online.
だからこれも
So this
ちゃんと
system
システムが
has
確
to
立
be
されてる
real.
ってことだよ
This wasn't fiction. If If you had the money and technological prowess to make the system, you could do it anytime you wanted. I remembered what Senna had said. If it were possible to convert a certain deliberately chosen information pattern to the nerve impulses, you would be able to control all 5 of a person's senses, and in fact their will itself. I hadn't found any source to confirm or deny that, so it was just a guess. But the theory I had come up with had a source? Why wasn't this incredible news anywhere to be found in Japan? I felt like you could win a Nobel for it easily. I decided to search for things involving mind reading. What I found was a record of an American court proceeding.
また英文だ。
English again.
頭痛くなってきそう
My
だよ。
head's starting to hurt. Fair enough. It was pretty long, so I didn't feel like trying to read it all. I decided to use translation software on it, even if it meant I might end up with something a little off. The basic idea was like this. Legal proceedings. Plaintiff, N.K. Rabin, defendant. United States Department of Defense, Central Intelligence Agency. Plaintiff's claims. My thoughts are being scanned by a special device, recorded, and sent somewhere via satellite. I'm a hostage to the satellites. I'm exposed to attack by multiple satellites, day and night. 1. Tracking. 2. Mind reading. 3. Observation of my entire body. 4. Biofrequency attacks. 5. Audio attacks. 6. Inducement of physical weakness. Beginning in late December 1990, I have been shown artificially created dreams. Between the months of February and May 1992, I was a victim of biofrequency attacks. I recognized that these were attacks upon my person. In the beginning, in February 1992, I began to record the following in my notes: time, date, contents of particularly painful psychological attacks. These biofrequency attacks were performed upon every part of my body. The pain, the torture, and harassment were finely tuned so that they could cause unpleasurable sensations, exhaustion, and pain of parts, and sometimes all of my body. The major parts of my body that were affected are as follows: chest, vision, abdomen, brain.
思考監視
Mind reading, stealing thoughts,
しかも
governments
国ぐらい
behind it.
マジ
Is this serious?
私これ知ってる。
Oh, I know this. I saw it in a movie a few years
映画
back.
で見た。
That was just fiction, wasn't it? These court proceedings were real. There were 2 possibilities. The plaintiff was just crazy, or it was all real. It was hard to tell which was true. After seeing the pattern, it was probably real, but still. But Senna and Ayase weren't crazy. Especially Ayase. Down in that tunnel, I'd seen her split into 2. I hadn't seen the moment it happened, but when I turned around, Ayase had been there, and in the underwear I imagined her being in too. I'd seen her pull the D sword from out of nowhere too. That wasn't a hallucination or delusion. After seeing that, I couldn't call her crazy. There was also what she'd said. This is the delusion you desired. So that strange thing I'd witnessed had happened because I'd seen it in my delusions? It was true just as before it happened. I had been thinking about Ayase in her underwear. The D sword only reveals itself to those who have the power. You can see my sword, right? That can mean only one thing. What was that Ayase had meant by power? The power to project delusions into reality? And it was possible that I had it? No. I was jumping to conclusions. Maybe there was a system that could use science to turn delusions into video footage, but that didn't mean psychic powers were real. You have to find it by yourself. I don't know how. But if, maybe the way to get a D sword involves some kind of psychic power. And if I had that power, it might be worth trying. I got up, leaving Rimi behind as she stared at the computer screen, murmuring to herself. I went and picked up the toy D sword in the corner of the room. I stood in the middle of the room and held it out in front of me in the best approximation of an ESO character that I could do. I started to feel like an idiot. There was no way a wimpy Japanese kid like me could look anything but ridiculous while holding this huge sword. You would see photos online of people cosplaying with weapons like these, and usually they looked really stupid. I probably looked the same as they did. Maybe this was hopeless. I decided to try it anyway, though. Maybe I should try to imagine the sword in my head. The first thing that came to my mind when I thought of swords were the ones in ESO. Maybe I should try to envision something like Senna and Ayase had, one that was beautiful, terrible, and impossibly sharp. I couldn't get a clear image of it in my mind because I wasn't sure of what kind of sword to picture. An ESO sword, or one like Senna and Ayase had. I should pick one or the other. I guess the latter would be the next best choice. Okay, it's not like I have anything to lose by trying, right? I pictured it in my mind, gritting my teeth and gripping the sword tighter. I focused hard. Become real! Stop it. A warm, soft hand touched my hand as it gripped the sword. Up my eyes in surprise. Rimi was standing beside me, holding my wrist. She was looking down, her eyes narrowed in pain, and her lips were trembling ever so slightly. What was going on? Something wasn't right. She looked like a totally different person than she had a moment ago, but she was so confused by the patent. What did that mean? What's that mean? Awful memories came racing through my mind. Rimi was on my side. She was on my side, right? But I didn't know everything about her. Did she know about the D-sword too? I gulped and slowly, timidly called out to her. Taku. Rimi was still looking down as she spoke. Her voice was flat and devoid of emotion. That sword, Rimi was on my side, right? She wouldn't betray me like you did, right? If Rimi betrayed me too, what would I do? I think you should throw that sword away. Why? My voice was cracking. Did Rimi know something about it? Because. Rimi finally turned her gaze toward me. I looked away as quick as I could. Because what? Because you're in high school now. What? Okay. Rimi suddenly grinned. She smiled at me mischievously. The sudden change knocked all the tension out of my body. I mean, I know that boys like their toys no matter how old they get. But I think you're a little too old to be swinging a big sword around by yourself in your room. I think the oldest you can be and still do that is elementary school. Oh, but I'm kind of happy that you let me see your private little hobby. It's like you've got a secret that only I know. What? I felt silly for being scared. Where'd you even get that thing? It must have been expensive, right? It was 10,000 yen at a store in Shibuya. Huh? 10,000 yen? I'm not sure if that's expensive or cheap. I'm not sure either. But I guess it would be kind of expensive for being a shitty prop. Since, like, the Monica plush, the Monica Fumo is 6,600? Who told you about the place where you could find it? She was really interested in this. What the fuck? She kind of made fun of me while she was really interested in this. Was she interested in swords like these? Maybe she was secretly an otaku herself. Wow, that's totally tsundere. I found it myself online. Online, huh? Wow, you can find out about anything online, huh? I'm no good at that stuff. I have no idea how to use a computer. So, are these swords really popular right now? Uh-huh. Why? I was curious why you decided to buy it. Should I tell her the truth? If she was going to stay with me, she might end up looking for the real D-sword with me too. Maybe I should tell her. This one's a fake. But there's a real one too. A real one? Rimi seemed a little
本
confused.
物を持ってる
I
人
know somebody
僕
who has one.
二人いる
Two people,
同じ
actually.
学校の
Girls at
女
our
子
school.
女
Oh,
子ね。
girls, huh?
女の子が
Would a girl
No,
really
what's a
want to own a toy like this?
本当なんだ
It's true.
それにおもちゃじゃ
And
ない
they're not toys.
あ、ごめん。
Oh, sorry.
本物は
The
光る
real ones light
それ
up.
に
They
すごい
look really
存在感で
powerful.
僕それを
I
探して
am
る
looking for
それ
one.
さえ手に入
If
れ
I
れ
can
ば
get
僕は
one,
救
I'll
われ
be
るんだ
saved.
救われる。
Saved? Rimi looked surprised by what I was saying, but I was totally serious. Having a D sword would give me a way to fight back against Shogun.
それで
So, I...
実
Hmm? I want you to help me find it is what I wanted to say. But the thought of her saying no made me so scared that I couldn't ask. I threw the fake sword down on the ground and sat on the sofa. Then I sighed and closed my eyes. Maybe Rimi would volunteer to help me find it? That'd make things so much easier. Maybe that was too much hope. And maybe that was too much to hope for. But Rimi had appeared out of nowhere to help me before when I needed her most. So maybe... Anyway, even if there's a real one, you'd better not buy it, okay? What you've got now is a toy, so it's okay, but real swords are illegal. My hopes were mercilessly dashed. Rimi, I'm disappointed in you. Well, her reaction was the one most people would have. The only reason I felt differently was because after all the weird things that happened over the past few weeks, I believed what Senna and Ayase said. I just have to find the D-sword myself.
それでタク、
So, Taku. I could feel Rimi sitting down
そ
beside me.
の本物の
These
手を持ってる
girls
女子
who have
って
real swords, who are they?
誰
Her
か
voice was
な
coming from right next to me. She was sitting right beside me. We were alone in a dark room. Just the two of us. And she was sitting right next to me. Emergency, we have an emergency
女
here.
子の知り合いが
I'm a little surprised that you know any girls other than me.
もしかして
Are they your
彼女
girlfriends, maybe? Did she have to ask that? Was she trying to tempt me, maybe? Or was she talking about girlfriends? Was she maybe going to tell me she wanted to be my... No, I wasn't ready for that. I opened my eyes and shook my head. Both Senna and Ayase were very mysterious. Also a little crazy, probably. If they were fake girls, they'd be really moe, but not in real life. Especially Senna. Just talking to her terrified me. She felt like she could beat me up at any moment. I didn't want to get involved with her at all if I could avoid it.
そっか
I see. That makes me feel a little relieved, I guess. Huh? What did she just say? Oh crap, my whole body froze. This was leading where I thought it was, right? She meant what I thought she meant, right? She was trying to get me to say something here, right? What was I supposed to say? Was I supposed to give her the answer she wanted to hear? I mean, I like the idea, but I don't know if I was up for dating a real girl. I glanced over at Rimi, unsure of what to say. Dude, what the fuck? Wait. Can the... Okay. Picture needs to start moving. My mind had gone totally blank. I was having trouble keeping up with this incredible turn of events. I couldn't even move a finger. I was too shocked to even speak. What's wrong? She'd taken off the jacket over her uniform. I realized that wasn't all. She'd taken off her skirt too. By the way she was sitting, it looked like she wasn't wearing any... Oh, don't say that. That meant Rimi was sitting next to me, wearing nothing but a shirt and bra. The first thing I thought of was a famous game about a private tutor. It was called Miss Emily Can't Strip, and what I experienced right now was out of its third chapter. And a rogue game, an H game had come to life right here in my room. Was this an illusion, a hallucination, or was it real? Whether it was real or delusion, Rimi was definitely sitting in front of me almost naked. I found myself staring at her chest. With her unbuttoned shirt, I could get occasional glimpses of it. Her light pink brassiere. Your chest is... Wait, no, if you stare, she'll think you're a pervert. Don't look at her. I let my gaze fall to the ground. Wait, now I'm looking at her legs. She's not wearing a skirt. I can They're very simple design, but very cute. Crap, my little man was starting to boot up. I could smell a sweet scent coming from Rimi's body, and her skin felt real in a way that figures in 2D never did. So this was the power of real life. It's too sexy to handle, to be honest. All of my deeply held values were in danger of being wiped out. I told myself I wasn't into real girls, that I only loved 2D girls. But Rimi's body had a destructive power about it that threatened to eradicate those beliefs. I could hear her breathing, like she was a little excited. The fine strands of her hair gently waved as she breathed. Her chest moved up and down with each breath. The way she was rubbing her thighs together, her dewy eyes, her pink tongue peeking out from her half-open lips. Nigga. It hurt to breathe. My mind was blanking. What was this? It felt kind of strange. The itchy feeling when you... My mind began... I can't show this on YouTube, dude.
ね
Hey,
え
Taku.
タク
She called out to me in a sweet voice. I couldn't take my eyes off her body. I'd never seen a girl my age's body this close. Was Rimi coming on to me? Did she like me? To be honest, I didn't want to be tempted in such a lewd way. Ideally, I'd wanted to start off with a platonic friendship, and then we'd slowly fall in love with each other until she worked up the courage to say she liked me beneath the legendary tree on graduation day. I'd say okay, and she'd start trying Tears of Joy and we'd kiss. At least that's what I used to think, but after experiencing the scene unfolding in front of me, platonic friendship could go fuck itself. I'm
ちょうど
thirsty.
何か飲み
You got
物
anything to
ある
drink? I stood up, unable to bear the tension between us. Drinks. Maybe in the fridge? I had to think Okay. So is the nigga booty delusion signal gone, or just... Like, are we starting to get to a point where he can't tell if he's actually having a delusion or not, or is she just naked?
ないなら買ってこようかな
If you don't, I can go buy something. There's a store in front of Shinsen Station, right? I could sense Rimi standing up behind me. I'll be right back. Huh? You'll be right back. I turned around in a panic, just in time to see Rimi still in her underwear heading out the door. Hey! She was going to the store with her showing was Rimi an exhibitionist?
露出狂
I don't like the fact that it's gotten to a point where you couldn't tell if it was being for real or not. I get that this is very grounded in reality, in quotes, and a lot of the more out there situations, like girls coming on to Taku for no reason, are his delusions. But the fact that it didn't like wave around like his delusions normally do, that feels like a turning point in the story, and not in a good way. I leapt up and literally fell back in shock. Rimi was right there. She hadn't left at all. She was wearing all of her clothes, too. She was looking down at me with wide eyes. Huh?
びっくりした
You scared me.
急に大声出さ
Don't
ない
scream
で
like
よ
that.
さっきから変
You
だ
were
よ
acting weird,
一
okay?
人で
You
ブツブ
started
ツ言い
mumbling
出
and then
し
you
たか
just
てどう
screamed.
かしたの
What's wrong? What was Rimi doing here? I'd seen her leave. Was the sexy Rimi I'd just seen a delusion? The sexy Rimi had felt so... Uh-oh. I know what it is. It's like the ISA that he had been thinking of, and the chain too, and the D swords. He's getting close. He's getting closer to it.
ねえタク
Hey, Taku. My whole body froze when she spoke. Had I disgusted her? What if she didn't want anything to do with me anymore? Without her around, I couldn't even leave the house by
私
myself.
喉
I'm
か
thirsty.
何か飲み物ある
You got anything to drink? She asked the exact same thing as before. But while she had sounded... I shook my head slightly. Rimi put a finger to her temple, pursed her lips for a moment
な
and
いな
thought.
ら買ってこよ
If
う
you
か
don't,
な
I can go buy
コ
something.
ンビニ
There's
って
a
シ
store
ン
in
セ
front
ン
of
の駅前
Shinsen
にあったよ
Station,
ね
right?
ちょっと行ってくる
I'll be right back. She smiled and left the room without waiting for my answer. All I could do was stare at her as she went. She was going to the store in her uniform. It was completely normal. That Rimi had just been a hallucination after all. Of course it was. felt a real little relieved, but a little disappointed. But her and the second ISA, what was it that had made these delusions feel so real? Was I the one who'd done it even? Did I have that power or not? If so, how could I use it? How could I get a D sword? There were so many problems facing me that I didn't even know where to start. I decided to do some more research on mind reading while Rimi was out on her run to the store. I turned towards the PC and noticed that Grim was in the chat room calling for me. Nightheart, come downstairs, it's dinner time. Mine's been going, whose eyes are those things? Damn it, what does that even mean to go, whose eyes are those? You just wanted to say that. Every time I see those words, it scares me. What's your new info? Nugent stuff, of course, it happened, the fifth murder? I felt the same dark terror I always felt, but I also felt confused. I was sure Shogun and Yua were going to come after me next, but instead they'd gone after someone else. Of course, it was hard to say if I should be happy about that or not. Want to know more? It's on the... Okay. When did it happen? Found the body last night. You see, they took out the guy's brain. Hang on. I panicked as Grim started to give me details without any warning. I had already heard and seen enough disgusting stuff. I didn't want to hear about it. If I did, I might end up imagining it happening to me, too. I didn't even have my D sword yet, either. But Grim continued oblivious. And there's how they think they died malnutrition. They survived losing their brain. My body shook with fear. I pulled my knees close to me and wrapped my arms around them. I didn't want to hear any more. Please just leave me alone. My HP was already at 0. It might have been stuck like that for over a week with no brain. Brought away. Brain dead, they're calling it. The names. Matchin already named it. A psychiatrist. The guy was a psychiatrist? Uh-oh. No. He's a part of the whole the scheme behind the scenes. There's no way it's him.
なんてことだ。なんて。
The victim's name was Fumio Takashina. It was Dr. Takashina. Dr. Takashina has been killed. Not my goat. No. Not my goat. Dude, why? Why him? Why him of all people? What story significance can this nigga dying have? They were taunting me. Shogun was clearly taunting me. He'd killed Dr. Takashina, the man I was counting on to help me, just to scare me more.
そんな。
No! No!
助けて。
Help me! Somebody help me! I screamed. My head felt like it was tearing itself apart. I'm going to go crazy.
あーやだやだやだ死にたくないよ死にたくないリミ助けて
Looked around the room for Rimi. I kept looking and looking. She wasn't here. Why wasn't she here? She left to go to the store. I fell to the ground. I hit my
僕を
head.
助けてリミ助けてよどこにも行かない
I won't. There was an answer. I gasped and looked up, and Rimi was standing next to me, holding a bag from the store.
リミ
Rimi. She was back. Relieved, I stretched out a hand. Rimi crouched down and took it with both hands. The last time I touched them, Rimi's hands were cold, but now they were so warm.
ここにいる
I'm here.
私は
I'm right here.
こ
Okay?
こにいるから怯えないで。
Don't be afraid. Rimi smiled gently at me and wiped my tears away with her fingers. I was really pathetic. Crying, screaming, being afraid like this in front of a girl. But Rimi said she'd be with me anyway. Right now, the only thing keeping my mind from shattering was this warmth. I didn't want to let go of this hand. Not until I had the D sword. Something very strange was happening at me as Sheeta parked in the depths of the night. Whose eyes are those? 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 A large group was huddled in the middle of the park. There were at least 100 people there, probably more. Most of them were in their teens. Some were in their high school uniforms, while others were girls wearing fashionable clothes. There were boys wearing otaku-style glasses too, and even ganguro girls, a rare sight these days. From a distance, it looked like some kind of local event. But if you got up close, you realized just how strange it was. Everybody was looking down at the ground with blank stares on their faces. There were so many people here, but nobody was talking to each other. They were just standing there, unmoving. Everybody was smiling a little as they mumbled and murmured to themselves. They were all endlessly repeating the same words. Whose eyes are those? There was no emotion in their words, their voices. The words came out of the mouths of 100 people, flat, toneless, as a monk reciting a sutra. Of course, there was almost nobody else in the park, probably because they didn't want anything to do with the strange crowd. The women cutting through the park on the way home from work, the old ladies walking their dogs, they all turned and ran when they saw this bizarre sight. There was one man, though, watching them carefully. He seemed to have some involvement with the group, but he was standing a good distance away. He was wearing an outfit that would have fit right at Akihabara. Plain shirt, jeans, beat-up sneakers, fingerless gloves, and a red bandana with a huge green backpack on his back. He was badly overweight, and his shirt buttons seemed like they might burst at any moment. Late October, so the weather was cold, but he was sweating constantly, wiping his forehead with a hand towel. He seemed to worry about something, as every few seconds he would look around and check over his shoulder. Between these checks, though, he would let his shoulders sway and grin with joy. There was another sound in the park alongside the strange chanting coming from the group. It was the sound of some kind of machinery. It was coming from his backpack. Another teen came into the park. This one, a teenage girl in an unbuttoned blazer. She walked right towards the rest of them, showing no signs of fear at the strange chanting. Her long black hair flowed in the wind with every step she took. For some reason, she had a half-eaten popsicle in her hand. The group ignored her completely. They were lost in their own world, endlessly repeating the same phrase over and over. The fact that they ignored her didn't seem to bother her at all. When she got close to their group, she suddenly stopped. She stood for a moment, eating her popsicle with an air of indifference. You could hear the sound of crunching ice coming from her mouth when she took a bite. When she finished her popsicle, she licked at the stick, then grunted in frustration and threw it on the ground. Her gaze was sharp as she examined each individual in the crowd. Hey, who are you? The man with the backpack screamed as if he couldn't take it anymore. The girl, Sena Aoi, had noticed that she was the only person paying any attention to her. She snorted derivatively at him. Then suddenly her hands seemed to stretch out in front of her. The space around her hands seemed to blur slightly. The fuzzy outline of a metallic pole began to appear out of thin air. It passingly resembled a hoe, or maybe a shovel. But it didn't really look like either of them. It was a sharp blade that split just above the handguard. The blur faded away and the weapon became solid. Senna grabbed it tight with both hands. But it wasn't all. Both ends of the blade she was holding, as well as the space off to its right, began to glow with a blue light. More and more metal parts appeared in the glowing space, just like before. Then, with a heavy clanking, they fused themselves to the first blade. In the end, they formed a ring, and a long trail of light stretched out to its right. A long blade split in half appeared along the side light. What had started as a hoe or a shovel had now become a massive sword. Sharp and elegant, pure and destructive, terrible and beautiful. The impossibly large weapon was now held tightly in Senna's hands. The man with the backpack didn't react. He simply frowned and stared at Senna. You're not part of this, are you? Get lost. The tone of his voice, which was high-pitched for a man, was arrogant and brash. He waved a hand, shooing her off. Senna quietly opened her mouth to speak. Are you in charge here? It was more of a rhetorical question than an actual one. Her eyes were locked on the man in the backpack. He started to get scared. Answer me. Where is Hatano? The man went pale and stepped back, but didn't answer her question. The crowd continued to murmur, whose eyes are those? Without showing the slightest bit of interest in him. Anything, it seemed possible the crowd didn't even see them at all. Senna and the backpack man were staring at each other. The first to look away was the backpack man. Who's Hatuno? Even if I knew him, I wouldn't tell you. Senna fell silent, swinging the sword around her front and taking the fog stance. She bent her knees and leaned forward. Don't get the wrong idea. The sword glowed again, but instead of a pale light, it was now red-violet. There was a sudden sound like a woman's high-pitched scream. The air shook. That wasn't sort of any metaphor or simile. The air was physically moving. The space itself had begun vibrating, centered around Senna's sword. The blade's red light had become so intense that it was hard to look at. Senna let out a small breath and she gritted her teeth hard. The noise grew louder. Lightning bolts raced from the blade. A sonic wave blasted the air itself. The vibrating sound stopped immediately afterwards, but the blade was still flashing red like a pulsing vein. On my BBC. The crowd around them had been ignoring them. It looked like they regained their senses because they ran from the park without knowing what had happened. Cindy ignored them, keeping her eyes fixed on the man with the backpack. The man had been indifferent before, but now he was very afraid. His face was pale, and he was slowly stepping away from her, shaking his head as if to say no. Wait, I really don't know anybody named Hatuno. They just told me what to do. I told you, don't get the wrong idea. Cinna ignored the man's pleas. I only asked as a way of saying hello. No matter what you said, I was going to destroy it. There was a fierce light in her eyes. The man with the backpack screamed pathetically before he turned and ran, but the direction he'd chosen was right toward the stampeding crowd. With nowhere to run, he froze. By then, Senna had already leapt towards him, closing the distance in an instant. Get his ass! Get his ass! Her strike was quick and powerful, so strong and so fast that it was hard to believe. It came from her frail body. She swung her blade in an arc, slicing through the man's backpack and destroying what was inside. The impact blew the man backwards. He fell on the ground, curling up into a ball and shivering. He didn't have the strength left to run. He pissed himself in fear, and a damp spot was forming on his pants. Senna walked over to him, showing no interest in the man himself. Instead, she looked down what was left of his backpack. There was a machine inside. Also, it's the same thing. It's the same machine that made Nanami almost walk into the road because she saw their parents and no car coming. The loud mechanical noise emanating from it a moment ago was nowhere to be heard. Nozomi. She whispered this name to no one in particular. There was hatred in her voice. Group dive, pregnant man, crucified, brain dead, vampire or brain dead. As autumn grew deeper, the air got colder. It was hard to believe that I had been wearing short sleeves just a short while ago. The sky above me was hazy, like its colors were starting to fade. The leaves of the park were brightly colored, though. Maybe the trees were stealing the color from the sky. I looked up at the sky and jammed a toothbrush in my mouth. The nice thing about the base was that I had the whole roof to myself without worrying that anybody would see me. The sink was on the shipping crates outside, which made it rough when it rained. But on days where the weather was clear, I always brushed my teeth outdoors. I rubbed my sleepy eyes as I brushed my teeth, remembering what happened yesterday. Rimi had stayed with me till late at night. She even held my hand for the hour or so it had taken me for to calm down. She had gone home without anything else happening, though. A boy and a girl in the same room for hours, and nothing romantic happened at all. If I had the conversational skills necessary to make something happen, though, I would have had a girlfriend ages ago. If anything, I was disgusted at myself for hoping something would happen at all. Rimi was trying to help me purely as a friend. Rimi offering to stay with me was one of the few things even keeping me together. Having that support made a huge difference. Despite the shock of Dr. Takashina dying in the brain-dead murder, a day later I was actually feeling fairly stable. What was up with that? Oh, she was way too real to be just a hallucination. I hadn't really stared that much, but I had even seen the wrinkles in her underwear. as a self-proclaimed panty-meister of figures only, I could state that they were incredibly realistic. A mere delusion couldn't create that level of detail. Wait, that wasn't what mattered here. The power to project illusions into reality. Did it really exist? Was Shogun after me because I had it? If I did have that power, memories from when I was young came back to me. The day I hadn't been able to go on the field trip. The day I was the only one who didn't get in the accident. The bus had crashed and all my classmates had gotten hurt. My teacher, Mr. Saito, had died. I'd seen the images in my hair so clearly. I could see every detail. Was that really just me seeing the future? If maybe. That wasn't me seeing the future, but just my delusion. And what if I made that delusion a reality? My whole body felt like it was about to start shaking. I wrapped my arms around myself to
だ
keep my
とした
body
ら
still.
僕は
If that was true, I was a murderer.
おはよ
Good morning. Oh, good morning. She was incredibly cheerful for it to be this early in the morning. Seeing her smile made my shaking stop. It was so strange. Normally, I couldn't stand being around real girls, but for some reason, being with Rimi made me
う
feel
迎え
better.
に来たよ
I came to get you.
なんでポ
What's
カ
with
ーン
the
としてる
shocked
の
face? Oh, right. According to my schedule, today was a school day. When I told Rimi about
迎
that
えに来て
yesterday,
あげるって
I'll
言
come
った
get you
よ
on the
ね
way to school then. Right, thanks to Shogun, I was afraid to even go outside now. That's why Rimi had offered to stay with me. She was keeping her promise.
まさか
Don't
本当
tell
に
me
来る
you
とは
didn't
思わ
think
なか
I'd
ったけど
come.
ビシッ
Snap!
残
Too
念だけ
bad,
ど
I may not look
こう見
like
え
it,
て
but I'm the
私
caring
複
and
数タイプ
devoted
なん
type.
だ
She gave me a mischievous wink. Ah. Was this an H game? In the real world, your female classmate didn't come pick you up on the way to school. It would have been even better if she'd come into my room when I was still asleep and woken me up. But you can't have everything, I guess. As long as I lost myself in silly delusions. As I lost myself in silly delusions, Rimi suddenly looked up at the sky. She was looking at something far away again.
冬の空が色あせたように見えるのは
The winter sky seems like its colors have faded.
どうしてだと思う
Why do you think that is? Sunlight contains a spectrum of 7 colors, the same colors seen in the rainbow. For those 7 colors to reach the human eye, they have to pass through the Earth's atmosphere. When that happens, a phenomenon called scattering occurs. Basically, the light collides with molecules in the air and gets bent in random directions. When the light bends in random directions, it starts flying all over the place. The more it scatters, the easier it is for it to enter the human eye. The colors which scattered most easily were purple and blue. That's why the sky was blue. I am very smart. Rimi's answer was very different from my dull scientific one. It must be because it's cold and everybody's looking at the ground.
みんなが下を向いちゃうから
I really don't want to get off, but my mouth